Thank you very much, Natasha. Dear audience participants, it's nice opportunity to talk to you. And I believe that it is not such an input which can be very new thing to you. Rather, I believe that it is exchanging views with you, as you have also experienced. I know some of you from our previous activities and interventions. And I like that actually now we have some time to talk about, to renew maybe our motivation and to remember. To go to the presentation, I am trying to share my monitor. I hope it should work. And as it is always challenging to work with technology, rather it would be much better if we could have met in person in somewhere, so that we could have more opportunity to exchange our views. Do you see, Natasha, the presentation? Very nice. And so as you are also aware so far about this Maple project, just here I put my email address so that if you need any time to express your opinion, send some suggestions, feel free to do that. And we can also surely accommodate some aspects from you. I work also with Life Learning Development FO in Germany. And presently, I'm also doing research and consultancy. However, as I mentioned, that I'm not going to give you the first information that what is the latest update from the climate change challenges, information or knowledge. Rather, I would like to hear also from you, and we like to share our experiences, our practices. That means we know more or less, but how much we are going to implement that information, that knowledge and awareness in our day-to-day life. So how much concerned we are, how much sincere we are to change this situation and to make it better for our next generation. These two photos, maybe some of you have already come to know the information about the context of these two photos. And I can give you some clue that both photos are from Germany. And as you see in one photo that the German words are written there. However, before going to say anything about it, I like to hear from you what you think when you see these photos, because these are very rare photos, not only in Germany, even also in the world, that these people, the initiatives, what they have taken, how much effective, there is a good debate actually, how much effective, how much analytical, and in which sense, to which extent it is logical, appropriate, convenient to some extent. So yes, first, please feel free to raise your hand, or just you can unmute yourself and you can share your opinion. Have you seen this photo, or have you been actually aware of these photos? From which cities, from which context, from which group, maybe, that which people are doing these activities and it's very surely actually you are aware that it is surely related to the climate change issue. That means for the environment, for the nature, and to praise their demand, surely. But anybody, if you like to share your information, what you know about these two photos? Could you please guess maybe also? So please feel free to cooperate with us. That means to be active in the discussion, not only listening to some theories and going back home without any right input with yourself. So I like to hear from you. So this session, actually, what I have planned that we will talk, and we will talk. That means not I and not alone. Anybody? Mr. Farhad Hossain? You are very active. Everybody has experience and active and contributor to the climate issue. Yeah, Mitchell, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me the chance. I hope I can guess that the right one maybe it's a campaign or any social campaign for climate change or eco-friendly revolutionary event, these kind of things. And the left one, I think it's a playground or airport where the plane are flying away. That's I can guess.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Farhad Hossain, for your input. Mitra from Satunik.
Thank you. I just heard a lot about this group of activities that came to the, and I saw once in Berlin streets that they are attached their hands into the I don't know, the road, and police came and collect them. They are very, actually, very activities, and they, I think once they closed the airport because their activity, and they actually make a lot of problem for the people in the airport. So I am not actually like this kind of activity myself, because this is not make any solution to the problems. So that's my opinion.
Thank you very much. We like to hear more from you, actually, because this is the context that climate change issues, and we, the people, are very concerned. We think that our generation may be not at the acute risk, but our next generation, what they will do. And that's why we are taking these initiatives, sometime very extreme, sometime very logical, sometime maybe very emotional, or maybe also risky. So thank you very much for your input, and I will address your points, your opinions. I'm going to. Is there anybody who likes to, or who like to share own just concept, what you think when you look at this photo? That means I can give you some hints that the right photo where the people are holding the banner, that is in the street. That means in one city, and not only in one city, in several cities, on the streets, highways, they are sitting. So they are blocking the transport system. And yes, as you have mentioned, that yes, Mr. Farhad said second time that yes, it may be the airport, right? It is airport. And Mitra also mentioned that yes, from the airport, this photo. Is there anybody else who like to contribute or to share any guess, any point about these two photos? I like to offer this opportunity, but yes, it is not necessary that just now we have to share your opinion, and that you have also some time. Actually, in our next slides and in my next points also, I like to take your points, take your suggestions, comments. However, these two photos, if I clarify this point, the group is called Last Generation. In German, Letzte Generation. So they claim themselves and they believe themselves that they are the last generation in this changing world, and after this generation, the world will not be suitable for any living being. So not suitable, will not be suitable for the human being. So our next generation cannot exist, as some of the people believe that dinosaur doesn't exist now. So extinction, we believe that extinction happens to some extent, to some places and in course of time. So this last generation believes that this is the last generation who are living in the world now. So we have to do extreme thing, extreme step and initiative so that the world may remain livable place for us, for the people who are coming. So yes, Mitra, you said almost rightly that they attach their hand with the street, with the highway. Even in the another photo in the airport, they also entered the airport, crossing actually the areas from the behind side secretly, and they went to the runway, and they in the German word, they claimed themselves. That means they glued themselves, their heads, their body, that as long as the government, the politicians, the policymakers are not taking serious steps against this climate change situation and policies which are negatively affecting, we are not leaving this place. That means the street, the highways, the airport, they like to glue themselves. And even sometimes they are wounded, sometimes bleeding happens. We have actually many photos, many videos from their works. So that is another discussion, whether this activity, this intervention, logical, how much effective, how much convenient. So in my next photo, probably this photo is much known to you and much acquainted with the scenario of the world. Yes, I should say displacement of the world, of the people, of the human beings. Anybody likes to share the opinion, what you think, how you can connect it or relate it to the climate change, either causes or impacts? Do you think that is this photo related to the scenario and situation of climate change? Or what do you think actually? You can also guess if you don't know this photo, surely. And yes, Davis, yeah, please. You can probably introduce also, Davis, shortly.
Yeah.
Your country of residence. And
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I wasn't available at the start of the event to introduce myself properly, but I'm Davis Dena. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I live in Germany. I'm an engineer by profession. I worked in oil and gas for 30 years. But at the moment, I'm doing my own thing now, my own business. So looking at the photo that you mentioned, this is as a result of like hurricane, that create the problem for a particular area. These are the debris that I left behind. I can see some of, a lot of household stuff scattered or littered all over the whole place. It could be as a result of maybe wild wind, the hurricane, natural disaster that happened in certain area that move most of those things. That's what I'm seeing at the picture.
Thank you very much, Davis. It's quite okay that you are introducing yourself, and it's fine that you shared your opinion. Yes, Mitra, I saw your hand. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't know if I exactly found it, but we have several. It is somehow my expert about the plastic pollution in the water and ocean and something like that. I see something like a garbage disposal in the ocean or sea, and now with the waves comes to the beach, maybe. If I am right, because this scene can be seen many times many countries, there's a lot of plastic pollution and garbage around the beaches. So it is very difficult to say which accident caused this, but in general, definitely plastic is a very, very important issue right now in all countries, and we are just addressing a little bit of it in our company, but this is a very huge problem.
Thank you very much, Mitra, for your input. Shleshma, I see your hand, please.
Yes. So with this picture, it reminded me of one of the movie scenes. I forgot the name of the movie, but the movie was all about where the Syrian people traveled all the way from the sea route to enter to Germany because of the political situations that was unstable in Syria. So there, once they arrive the border and they leave the boats and the life jackets out there. So I believe this is a similar thing with the picture where the people just travel from the sea routes and enter the Germany border, and they just leave out their life jackets and the boats and just they throw it out there. So yeah, I believe this picture directly or indirectly reflects to that situation where it pollutes the environment and also the sea life.
Thank you very much, Shleshma, Davies, Mitra. Anybody else like to share any opinion? How do you conceive, or maybe your conception that which can be related to this photo? Maybe from which sea, from which ocean? The items, yes, it is rightly. Most of the items are made from the plastic we see. And these are colorful. Most of the pieces are colorful, but also white. Some aspects, some debris is there. Surely, it is actually a heart-rending situation, and it is terrible, the background information behind this photo. But yes, if anybody else likes to share any idea, otherwise I can surely. And I hope that Davies, probably it is your old hand. If it is, then I'm going to talk about it, or if you like to add anything, surely you can. Yes, Serine Mustafa, please.
Yeah, this picture reminds me of the plastic pollution in the ocean, and that can lead to the extinction of the loss of the species in the ocean.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm very happy that actually most of the people are willing to express their opinion and knowledge and information. It's nice. It is very active participation. But surely, Natasha, if I am too late or I am behind the time schedule, then you can remind me also. However, it is very important actually why I am sharing these photos with you. This photo is, yes, related to plastic. That is, in one way, it is correct. But behind the photo, there is much deep and very pathetic story that, yes, probably Shleshma or another participant probably related it to that it is related to the people, migrant people, displaced people, maybe because of the climate change, impact of the climate change, they are leaving their own countries. So there may be some climate refugees. From my background, actually, from my analysis as a journalist and researcher also, I have seen the background of the migrant people, that why they are leaving their own countries, home country, motherland, sometimes because of the negative impact on their own lives, own households from the climate change, climate hazards, but sometimes also because of the economic interest, that means for the betterment of their career, for study, for the betterment of their economic situation. But on the one hand, this photo is related to the cause of the climate change impact. That means the people are not leaving their relatives, family, and owned homeland only for the economic situation, rather also their climate refugees. But on the other hand, this is related to surely the plastic issue. That means this is from the Mediterranean Ocean. That means, and this photo is not a rare case, rather it is very common almost every day, almost every week, that people are trying from some so-called the global south, global north countries, that means to the global north, that means that for the better opportunities from the south to the north, that means from some Asian countries, like from some African countries, the people are taking this risk in their life. Even they're dying also. Almost every week, we see this information from the IMO, International Organization of Migration, that the people are taking risks from Greece or, the channels actually to cross this deep ocean to come to Germany or to come to any other better economic country. And they cannot sometimes cross the water body, or they can sometimes. They are rescued also from some groups. But in the shore, in the sea beach, these products, these plastic products are remaining also. That means on the one hand, this is the result of the climate change impact. So it is one-sided, it is from the cause, and also it is impacting also negatively, that if these plastic, and Mitra, I saw your website also that you work with plastic and many of our participants, plastic products, when it is going to the water, and probably that 500 years it takes to be resolved in some way, but it's still as microplastic, it is also very actually affecting negatively. And probably you have also heard that from the scientific research, they assume that after 50 years, more plastic products will be in the water than the sea animals like fish. And fish will eat this plastic, microplastic, and we are eating also fish, and how we are actually harming our bodies, our health. However, I'm not remaining in these photos only. I'm going to my next slide. So my question to you, why should we cry on this issue? Should we? Who are going to suffer from it? And also my third question to you, who are responsible? And actually after getting the answers, your response, your experience and knowledge to these three questions, I like to go through some very basic, some data, but which are also maybe known to you. But I like to hear from your perspective, from your experience. Anybody can share, surely, that what may be the answers. Why should we cry on this issue? And who are going to suffer? Only the people in the poor countries or in the rich countries, or who? And who are responsible for that? Yes, sure, you may raise your hand either digitally or in person. Yes, Shleshma, probably you can start, and then we can go to Mustafa.
Okay. Yeah, so I think definitely we should cry on this issue, because as we can see, the picture shows us the plastics, and Ms. Mitra, she should be like, she has more idea about this one, like how this negatively affects us, right? So maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the plastics are non-biodegradable to the environment, right? And which creates diverse effects to the living beings and the planet itself. And the live example that we recently have faced is COVID, I would say, right? Because it was one of the most immense torture that we all have faced so far. And we have been in our lows during that time, staying all at home, doing nothing, just being helpless. So the people that are responsible, I would say, is us itself as a human, right? Because we are the ones who should be able to take care of our planet, so that we should choose one of the sustainable ways to run any kind of business, or maybe any kind of other activities that should also benefit the planet and the environment. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Reshma. Probably Seri Mustafa, you rose your hand, or anybody else? And also, in the meantime, you should think, if I am responsible for it, so what I am doing in my life? Yes, Mitra, please.
I think all this issue is real and also sad, but I learned to fight for what I needed. My meaning is, I am not sitting to see the climate is changing, but start to reading, understanding what I can do about that. Or maybe there is a solution. There is always solution for everything. But from the basis, what's happening in this planet definitely started from when the industrialization is developed and people left the farmlands and start to go to the cities for a job and for the money and for the better position. Now we are adapted to the situation and even wanted more. My means we want a better car, we want a better house, we want a better comfort. And so it makes it a part of our lives, and it is a very difficult situation to say between the modernization and the situation that is happening, what we can do about that, or what I can choose between two. It is very complicated. It's outside of my mind because I am not the expert. There are many philosophers, I don't know, people like you, and they think about that and study about that. But it is what I see. It's very how to say complicated, and increasing the population is another problem. So we also have a challenge in the future for water supply and clean water. This is not very far from many countries. Between maybe 50 years or 60 years in the next, we will see the problem switch to the water supply. And then we will see the crisis is more. So we have to be in the rush to solve one by one this problem. And so we try it, or we do our best. I don't know.
Thank you very much, Mitra, for your opinion. Yes, anybody else from the participants? Yes, I believe that our reminder or responsibility for our activities, for our practices and behavior only change when we think that I am responsible. If I think that I'm not responsible for any fault, for the sufferings of the people, I don't think that I will change myself or my behavior. So, dear participants, my colleagues, my friends who are here, actually you see that very few of us are here. That means not 100 people, not 200 people, but this climate change is going to affect all the people. That means 500 billion people. That means all the planet, the whole planet is going to suffer. But we probably are very few people very sincere about it, very active about it. That's why I am interested to listen to your points from your opinion and in your own views and on ours, so that you can also share. And it is also our responsibility that we have to share these points and knowledge information with our family at home. That means not only talking in a big session, in a big seminar and conference, rather this issue, I believe that climate change, we have to do from home, from myself, from ourselves. And that's why actually I asked these questions to you. If anybody else wants to share any feelings, surely please feel free to share. Otherwise, I'm going to the next slide, and surely you might have some opportunities to talk. As we have seen that to some extent, actually, we have only given hints that to some causes and some effects. But these are only the words here, which are related to our lives. That means in this slide, what we see that rapid industrialization, who are doing that, who have done that, this industrialization. And we think that industrialization is, yes, for the modernization, for the economic progress and growth of our nation, of our country, and we have to do that. In this way, we are harming our society, our nation. That means almost, if you analyze this point that causes rapid industrialization, energy consumption, I think that I have to not explain all these terms, agricultural practices, that means actually bad practices, using pesticides and more pesticides and maybe chemicals, also deforestation, consumer practices, that means ourselves, what we do at home. In this point, I would like to mention that only the politicians, only the policymakers and the government cannot control it, because we are consuming the products at home. We are deciding whether I should go or we should go with car or with bicycle. We will switch on the heater now or air cooler now or not. That cannot be controlled by the government. Rather, our conscience should control it. And that's why I feel that only the policies cannot change our behavior. Rather, our feelings, emotion, and understanding, and knowledge, information, awareness can have more impact. Livestock, transport, resources extraction, and pollution. These cause climate change. And surely you know that for these causes, that means every cause has some effect, and consequences. So it is also visible now, and more visible nowadays, that rising temperature, rising sea levels, although we don't see it, we cannot measure it as mass people, but we know from the scientific research and findings that it is rising, and when it will rise more, then it will also flood some of the lands where people now live, and they cannot live anymore, like some countries. And actually, I'm originally from Bangladesh, and there is a risk from the scientific research that to some extent, some areas of Bangladesh will go under the water after 50 years, maybe, or maybe earlier or later. But it is risky, not only for those people, rather those people will surely go anywhere else. And in this way, we are connected with each other. The whole world is connected with each other with the impacts and effects. Unpredictable weather patterns, increasing in extreme weather, land degradation, and loss of wildlife and biodiversity. So I should not spend actually more time with these causes and effects. Rather, we can talk much more and share our opinion, what we see, that social impacts of climate change. So more displaced people and more poverty, loss of livelihood. You know that Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, have addressed most of the points, but how much and how far we can manage it and we can achieve these goals. Surely more malnutrition, increased risk of diseases, and global food and water shortage. Some of us also have experience with these points, and some of the points like food security and water crisis in the world. We see, does it affect what I asked you also earlier, only the global south or only the global north? So the participants who are now in Germany, you know that the heat wave in Germany, how much it has affected. Here is only, I have only put only some just examples data or statistics from Nexus, Climate Nexus, and they have published this report in 2017. I searched it that whether they have some update, but they did not. So at least it is from the USA, that this is statistics. That means when rising temperatures, at least 37 states of the USA saw record high temperatures in the summer of 2010. Surely it has some correlation in the next years. 150,000 Americans could die before the end of this century due to excessive heat caused by climate change. And yes, if you are interested, surely I can share the link of their Climate Nexus report, and surely you can guess in which situation we are. That means whether only the south or only the north are going to suffer from it. 7,415 deaths are attributed to excessive natural heat from this 10-year time, 99 to 2010. And also children, the elderly, and the poor are more vulnerable to heat-related illness. And you know that which related diseases and impacts actually are coming from the heat wave. If anybody wants to share own experience, surely please feel free to raise your hand anytime, or also after, I think in a few minutes, I can complete my discussion or presentation, and then we can have some time to talk. So anytime you can raise your hand and you can share your opinion. Surely also critical opinion, also suggestion and remarks. If we see, as Mr. Farhad Hussain, if I remember rightly, he also mentioned about the carbon footprint, and most of you probably know that how much we are responsible as a person, as a consumer, as a customer, as a member in this planet. So that is the way to measure and to think of the methods which we are taking. What should we do and what should not? So it is very full of data, this slide, but I'm not going to discuss very details because of the time restraint. Tourism is responsible for roughly 8% of the world's carbon emissions. That means whether we will use the flight. Once again, if anybody wants to say something or no. So whether we like to take the flight or train or bus, any better option which has less CO2 emission, that is our decision. And actually, in that sense, we need such carbon footprint to measure so that we can decide before the planning that what we are doing and what we are going to do. Like carbon footprint of food, and it is measured in the pounds of CO2 emission per serving. Sorry, everyone, I have to read. Okay, no problem. Just a message came from Sudarshan. However, so like it is another debate that whether we should eat or how much we can eat meat or we should be vegetarian. So, but this is the fact that from the beef, we are contributing negatively, if I say rightly, that 6.61% pounds of CO2 per serving, like cheese, pork, eggs, and rice. From every item, we can surely research and we can see that how much we are responsible for our carbon footprint. We're using as much ecological resources as if we lived on 1.75 Earths. That means we have only one Earth, but we are using in such a way that we have many planets. We have many Earths, planet A, B, C. So we are not taking care of the measure that how we can minimize the use, and we can share it with the members of the planet, with other members. Taking a train instead of a short flight could reduce your emissions by 84%. So surely, if it can help us to plan our next tourism or next working plan, that means working travel, working trip in other way, in climate-friendly way, probably that is the benefit from our discussion today. 100 cities drive 18% of global emissions. That means not the whole world is responsible. That means all cities from all countries are not equally responsible for the climate change. Rather, most of the 100 cities you have seen here, that most of the cities actually they are responsible, and they are sending us to the risk for all the people, though those people who are not using any car, probably who are not using any flight. But surely you can also raise the question, that means how much should we use, or should we consider compromise with our comfort and comfort zone? So that is another debate, that how much comfort zone we should have, we should not. However, time is running out. That's why I'm not going to every point, but it's very clear to you, a carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane, that are generated by our actions. And in the right side, there are some suggestions actually how we can contribute positively, so that we should not make this planet much worse than the situation in which we get it. Rather, we should make it much better. If I go to the next slide, we can see just a few responsibilities and commitment, what we should really do. Like commitment, the current climate crisis requires people to demand political action from the governments. This demand and our commitment can be different. There should be many different methods and tactics that can be another discussion. Participation, climate change requires individuals. That means not the all, or we cannot blame other people that they are not doing. Rather, I am not doing, or we are not doing, how much we are doing as individuals. It is very important to contribute to sustainability in their communities through practical solutions. Healthy habits, that means walking, riding a bike, and healthy eating are habits that will help in the fight against climate change. Environmental awareness, so societies that love and respect nature play their part by setting an example in the fight against global warming. Efficiency and innovation, so climate change needs people to prioritize energy saving and the use of renewable energy. Yes, Brian Matara, do you like to say something just now? If you want, you can switch on, you can unmute yourself and you can share. Otherwise, you can just wait a few minutes, then we have the time. So this was the last slide from my side. So thanks for your kind attention. Let's work now, as it was my theme actually, and my focus point. Let's work now. That means we don't have time to wait, that we'll start from tomorrow. And let's start from home. That means from myself, not waiting for other people to do. So thank you very much for your attention. You can raise your hand, you can ask questions, comments, and also critical points.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Hai. It was really informative, and I really liked it, the way you involved everyone to at least give their contributions. So thank you again. So here we have Shegun Ajibola from Afridat. So he will be talking about the best practices that we collected from Germany. So yes, the floor is yours.